You have made it to day 7. You know what? Every day I tell you I'm proud of you, and every day I mean it, because this is the difference between you and everybody else. You are showing up, and you got to show up to grow up. And today we're talking about how circumstances don't decide your destiny. Your decisions decide your destiny. Goals require going. You can't spell the word goal without go. And the best leadership book in the world, it says that Abraham, this guy, they call him the father of the faith, even he had to go. When he thought he was down, when he thought there was no possible way that he was going to reach his goal, to have a legacy, to have a son, to have a family, to be a father of nations, God challenged him and said, go. Go outside and look at the stars. Count them all. Go outside and look at the grains of sand in the desert and count it all. Now, I can't even imagine starting that project, because he did not finish that project because there's too much. And he told him, I'm going to give you descendants like that. His circumstance didn't decide his destiny. He had to decide, I'm not giving up on my dream. He had to figure out where he was going. So I need you to know where you're going. And in order to go where you're going, you need to have before I go any further, I want you to go. And I want you to share this right now. I've been sharing my time. I've been sharing my knowledge. I've been sharing my research. I've been sharing what I've gathered. And it's time for you to share. It's time for you to hit the little paper airplane on the IGTV, the little arrow share on your Facebook, the little arrow share on your YouTube. Copy the link, text it out. And then many of you have been asking me for the book, but you don't want to wait for it to be shipped. So you can get the productivity bundle. Just check it out at NicoleCrank.com/goals. Now, you have to know where you're going, and in order to know where you're going, you need a map. That's our next step. We're going to measure, assess, and plan. Now, we can't do all of that today by any stretch of the imagination. I'm going to dive a little bit into measurement and assessment, and let me talk to you about maps. So one time we were driving our motorhome home from Florida to St. Louis. And we were on vacation. We'd had a good time. We'd been in Destin. My husband wanted to take a little nap, so he put me in charge. This was back in the day, y'all. My phone had a flip and it had some buttons. You know what I'm talking about? It did not have some screen. It did not have any graphics. It had like little digital numbers. So I had this paper map. I checked the map. I saw where I was going. I sat down. I started driving, and I knew I was cruising, baby. My husband slept for 2 hours, and I didn't make good time. I made great time. Misfed just a little bit, but I made great time. And when he woke up, we were in Atlanta. Ha! And he's like, where are we? I said, we're in Atlanta. He said, why are we in Atlanta? And I said, because when I looked at the map, I had to get on this highway. He said, babe, we weren't supposed to go to Atlanta. We were supposed to bypass Atlanta. We are over an hour out of our way. I knew where I was going, but I didn't reference the map. So how do we get a map for where we're going? Something we can reference, something we can look back at, something that we can look at how we grow so we know what to do. I want you to write this down. I want you to write it down. I want you to write it in comments. You measure what matters. What do I measure? Measurement, assessment, planning. What do I measure? You measure what matters. You have to record your progress. And writing things down helps your goal real. It leads to accountability. Okay, how many of us get on a scale at least a couple times a week? And we're kind of like, I'm up a little bit, I'm down a little bit. But if we are looking at a little chart, and our little chart is going this way, we know we've got a problem on our hands. But if our little chart is going this way, we're feeling really good about ourselves. Writing things down leads us to accountability. My husband, when we first started growing, I started measuring. He didn't want to know the metrics because he didn't like the starting numbers, but how do you know when you grow if you don't write it down? Why do you measure? You measure to know where you are so you know your progress. You have to be able to know when you win. How do you know when you win if you don't write it down? And then it helps you with psycho-cybernetics. The brain automatically moves towards the achievement of a goal. And when you know that you are moving the right way, the brain gets excited. The endorphins get released. You get this energy and this thing that's invisible. It's called momentum. The momentum starts to grow because the psycho-cybernetics start kicking in because you're watching your progress. It's chartable. It's graphable. You gotta know when you grow. And then we're going to grow and we're going to make plans. In Isaiah 32:8, it says, the noble make noble plans. And by noble deeds, by doing it, they stand. So I want you to figure out what you need to measure. So go ahead and pull out your goals. Take a look at them. I'll give you a second to pull that out. And I want you to figure out, where am I today? So what are you measuring? Maybe you're measuring your weight. You know, I feel great at my perfect weight of, and I'm not telling you what my perfect weight is, but I'm going to tell you, I stepped on the scale the other day and I looked around to see who was pushing me down. Who is pushing me down? Because this number is wrong. And it must have been the heaviest pajamas that I own. But I tell you what, it changed how I ate that day, because I feel great at my perfect weight of, and it might be something that rhymes with great, but I'm not telling you what it is. So you need to measure your weight. Maybe you're measuring your waist size. Maybe you're working out and you're a guy and you're doing pecs and you're measuring your chest. Maybe you're a girl and you're slimming your hips down. Maybe you're building your booty. You're measuring your hips. And maybe you need to know, what are you going to measure? Maybe you're measuring your body fat. Maybe you don't want to lose or gain any weight, but you just want to reproportion some things a little bit. You want to tone up. Maybe you owe on a home and you want to measure when you're making extra principal payments, and you want to figure out, by making an extra principal payment, how much interest you're saving. Maybe you're saving to buy a home. Do you chart that weekly? Do you chart that per paycheck? Do you chart it monthly? Maybe you're putting a certain amount in investment or savings. You have to watch your savings account grow so you can hit your goal. Your monthly expenses. Maybe you're watching your budget. So you have to track those monthly expenses and find out, is what I'm doing really working? Because I don't want to find that out in 8 months and I only have 4 months to hit my annual goal. No, I want to know how I'm tracking along the way so we can make little tweaks, we talked about in the last video, that make giant peaks. How much money do we owe on our credit cards? Maybe we need to know that. How many books did we read last year? And how many credits do we have in our Audible to listen to a book this year? Hours spent in self-investment last year. How many hours did we spend investing in ourselves? And how many hours are we planning to do that this year? Maybe the daily amount of time that we spent seeking God or praying or reading. Or every Thursday morning, I do this thing called Wake, Pray, Slay on Instagram Live and Facebook Live. And you can join me and pray with me. Maybe you're like, I'm going to hit 52 out of 52 this year. What's the number of days you journaled in your prayer, your life journal? The number of weeks, hours in the week you spent investing in family relationships, or how many times did you text your mom this week or call your dad this week? Maybe the number of hours a week you spent investing in friend relationships. How many did you send one thank you note or just thinking of you note a week? You can measure almost anything. You know, we talked the other day about having the gun and how a little adjustment can make a big difference. And if whether or not we pull the trigger in our goal's gun will make a huge difference. And today I want to say maybe the gun we shoot at the target changes just a little bit with what we measure and how that adjusts who we are and what we're doing. But our target has not changed. We just get more clarity. Like a scope, or like some binoculars, or actually putting on glasses. Like, I don't know if you wear readers, you wear glasses, you wear contacts, but trying to read something without them and then putting them on, it changes everything. So in our last minute or two together, I have one question for you. What is one metric you're going to measure? Come on, tell me what's one metric you're going to measure. I want you to comment below. I want you to be accountable. I want you to share with us. We can celebrate one another. It's going to give people ideas. Your goals give people ideas. Your goals give people inspiration. Your questions give people inspiration. Your measurements are going to make people think, oh yeah, I should do that. You're going to help other people when you share in this community. When you have a goal and a plan, you increase your likelihood of achieving a goal by 1,000%. So tomorrow, we are going to increase your likelihood of achieving your goal by 1,000%. Today, as soon as this finishes, in our last few seconds, write down what you're going to measure, start that process, start charting that every day or every month, how you're going to do it. Tomorrow, we're going to increase your likelihood of achieving your goal by 1,000%. And in the meantime, make sure you get the goals book, NicoleCrank.com/goals. I'll see you tomorrow.